Good morning. I'm Ashley Mertens, and I am going to be discussing today my design choices for my greenhouse gas emissions infographic that you see here. I've utilized two different forms of graphs here in order to convey the same information in more than one way. So here we've got the pie chart and then this secondary infographic here. I wanted to give the viewers multiple ways to view the same set of data. So initially, I started with the pie chart, as you can see here. I feel that pie charts are typically the most effective way to convey information that is presented to us in the form of percentages. I didn't want to just stick with a standard pie chart, so I chose to have the center of this graphic be a picture of our Earth to help the reader better visualize greenhouse gases actually coming off of the Earth's surface. Below the pie chart, I wanted to reinforce the data initially presented in another way. This form of a graph consists of 100 individual boxes, in which a single box represents 1%. I then color-coded them so that they corresponded with the appropriate percentages that were given above. So for example, if we were to look at this pie chart here, we can see that electricity and heat production account for 25% of greenhouse gas emissions. If we were to scroll down, we would then see a corresponding 25 boxes filled in. The color scheme that I chose here were the earthy tones of blue and green. I feel that greens and blues are very commonly associated in our minds with nature and our planet, and I wanted to create that connection throughout the entire color scheme here. I felt that by creating that connection through color, it would help the viewer be more apt to pay attention to the data being presented to them, since it is now something that they can associate with something they're familiar with. I chose to make the colors throughout the entire infographic cohesive, in that one color is used for the same piece of data in all places on the infograph. So for example, if we look at the forest green color here, we can see that it represents that 10% of greenhouse gas emissions come from the extraction, refining, and processing of fuel. We can also find that same color down below in that 10 boxes are filled in the second infographic. This color scheme helps the second graph further emphasize the data in the original graph even more. I also chose to put this key down here at the bottom last minute, even though the colors are consistent throughout the graph. Since this is a visual that is meant to be scrolled through, I wanted to spare the viewer scrolling up and down to remind themselves of what each color represents. I wanted the data to be as easily absorbed as possible. Overall, I hope that the design choices I made were properly conveyed and received by the viewers of this infographic. Thank you for listening.